Hi, I'm Jessie Perez, Relational Strategist and the host of the TV show Hearts in Tension. I'm super excited to be with Patsy today, and we are talking about relationships and what it means to be a woman at the top and really having those authentic relationships with other women versus that competitiveness. And so, as we were talking earlier, there's just so much to dive into here.
Yes.
And so you are a retention strategist,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so when we think about like what we were talking about earlier, you really kind of dive right into that in amazing ways. And, even with your book, Keys, something that really stood out to me was when you said empowerment isn't about letting go of leadership, it's about sharing it.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit more about that.
Well, so one of the things that we were discussing earlier is that there's so much tension when you are a woman in corporate that you have to fulfill a role. You feel like you have to compete on a very masculine level, and that you have to hold control. And one of the things that I have found in my studies and in my observations is the fact that the more tightly we hold to control, the less control we actually have.
Oh, isn't that true?
Absolutely. And one of the beautiful things is that the more we empower other people, the less competition we actually have, because these people will never be us.
Right.
Ever. So one of the podcasts that we're doing on the Brunch Cast is about comparison and how comparison actually steals things from you. Because I am Patsy, and I am the only Patsy with my DNA and my experiences and my life choices and my family and the things that I've observed and the way that I think and my personality. I'm the only one on the face of this planet. There's never going to be another one like me, so there is no comparison to me. I have no competition. And if I can get that in my brain, then there is not anyone who can threaten me, because no one can take my place. And so as we walk into these relationships, these corporate dynamics or familial dynamics, and we walk into these situations, we can remember, if we can remember, I have no competition.
Yeah.
Then we can let go of things. And we can open our arms instead of holding everything so tightly that we have no more control left, because we've tried to control so much that everything has escaped us. It's just a rule. It's a rule. Remember the Looney Tunes back whenever the Sasquatch was like, and I will love him, and I will pet him, and I will call him George. That's kind of what it reminds me of. How the cartoon character was always trying to escape that very painful, clustered relationship.
Yeah.
So.
It reminds me too of that analogy of holding sand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you hold sand too tightly, it escapes, right? But if you hold it loosely, you can hold a whole handful.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very good. Yeah.
And you talked about sharing,
Yes.
right? And the importance of that. And I think that, for women who have done it, they see that amazing growth that comes from sharing, right? Sharing in responsibility, sharing in leadership. When we try to take it on and do it all ourselves because we feel like that's who we have to live up to, we can only do so much. We level out. And there's nothing else we can do, no matter how good we are, no matter how much smart we are. But it's that piece where, as we are sharing in the role with others, as we are sharing in our thoughts with others, as we are sharing in our community with others, sharing our networks, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Our best still tops out, but because we're partnered with others, we continue to grow.
Exactly.
And there's no ceiling.
And there is no ceiling. And the beautiful thing about it is when we empower others, we encourage them. We encourage them in their growth. We encourage them in their abilities. And what happens naturally when we encourage other people is there's a connection made.
Yes.
And loyalty is born, where there is no loyalty in being controlling.
Yeah.
There is no loyalty in that. So whenever we empower and we encourage, not only are we being lifted up as the people around us are lifted up, but we're also inspiring other people to lift up and encourage others. So it's kind of a trickle down effect. And it, like you were saying, is that even whenever we cap out and we max out, the people around us haven't.
That's right.
And the people around them haven't. And so it it continues to grow and inspire and become a whole movement if we can just let go of control.
Yeah. Well, it takes us from that transactional relationship to a relational relationship,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And so in transactions, it's you give me this, I give you that.
Right.
And
right.
the transaction's over. So until they need another transaction, they're not there, right?
Right.
But in relational, transactions will occur, but it's no longer about the transaction. It's now about the relationship that transcends transactions.
Exactly.
And because of that, they'll be at front of mind for you. You'll be at front of mind for them. So if an opportunity that could be a good transaction comes up, they're going to think of you first.
Absolutely, 100%, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And I love the dynamic. I have watched it so many times amongst women who have said, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to play this game. And to watch them meteorically rise to the top of their organizations whenever they stop competing and start empowering, it becomes it's night and day, the difference, not only to their work life, but also to their home life and to their relationships with their families and with not just their coworkers and their families, but also to the other people in their communities, because they become a more relaxed and authentic version of themselves.
I didn't think of it until just now, but I had a shift in my career, as I was talking to you earlier, and I had a guy I'd worked with in the beginning of my career, and I caught back up with him towards the end of the career, and I'm standing in front of him. He said, I almost wouldn't have recognized you if I didn't know who you were. He goes, you look like a totally different person. And I said, okay, what does that mean, And so you're so much more relaxed and easygoing. And I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But, seeing that feedback from the outside sometimes that I didn't recognize, right? But it was the difference between me trying to compete and me trying to collaborate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And I love the fact that whenever we can look at ourselves and we can go, ooh, okay, maybe that was where I've been going wrong. And the reason why I've stopped growing and stopped creating the relationships that I desperately want to create.
Yes.
Then we can take a good hard look at ourselves and go, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. And we have the ability to change.
Yeah.
We really do.
It's true.
It may be hard work sometimes, but we have the ability to change. And I love that.
That's so great. Patsy, thank you so much for talking with me.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it.
And I hope that you are inspired. And if you are in either of those categories, you're in that transactional, competitive place, and you're feeling exhausted and worn out, it's because that's not where you're meant to live. So as you walk in and you become more relational and you let down that guard and you start becoming, more in that kind of that sharing mode, right? You're going to find things that you didn't even know existed. You're going to soar to levels that you didn't even know you could. And we just want to inspire you to go and then share that with others, because this is all about us coming together and doing it together. So until next time, I'm Jessie Perez.